For our physics class, we have to make a video about whether or not a peanut has more energy or a battery. In class, we've been talking a lot about energy and a lot about how to compare the two and different ways that we measure energy and what is energy. So the first question we were presented with was to figure out whether or not a peanut had more energy or a battery had more energy. The original thought we had was that heat and light are both forms of energy. So therefore, we designed a test that a peanut and a battery would both heat 80 milliliters of water in a can of V8, whose original starting temperature would be 75.3 degrees Fahrenheit, and then compare to see which one would increase the temperature more. The peanut was able to increase the temperature of the water by 4.7 degrees Fahrenheit, and the battery increased the water by 5.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Brant, Bates, and I decided that, therefore, the battery would have more energy than the peanut because it was able to increase the heat by a larger number than the peanut. As we started talking more in class, we realized that Brant and I could have made a lot of mistakes in our experiment. We realized that there was a lot of error with our process about losing heat into the air, how the heat entered the can, because one came through was actually directly in, we put the battery directly in the water, but with the peanut it had to heat through the tin can. And also whether or not measuring in heat would be an accurate way to measure the amount of energy. So Mr. Burke that night decided to run his own test to help us answer our question. The experiment that we were testing used a V8 can in the same hanging apparatus we used, but we took the temperature from a battery in water and the peanut heating the V8, which was really similar, except for Mr. Burke used some special technological energy and heat raising, or like heat calculators to track the heat through a period of time until the battery was dead and the peanut had gone out. Using the picture, using the same thing in the picture that you can see here. So, we found that a battery will sustain the heating for a way longer time than the peanut will. A peanut releases all the energy at once, and so will heat the water by extremely high compared to a battery, but a battery will simply heat the same thing for a long period of time, which is why we use the battery instead of peanut to charge things and have our cars run on them, because it will sustain that energy and not release it all at once, where the peanut would give everything and then you'd have no more energy left. So we did some calculations in class to test to see more exactly what we would find. And we found that the battery and the water system had about 10,000 joules, and we did this using one of the equations we came up with ourselves, and also drew a diagram to show the before energy before it was put in the water and the after energy after it was put in the water. And you can see that it decreases slightly over the period of time. But the original would have 10,000 joules. And then we decided to try the same thing for the peanut and the water system, and we found that a peanut actually holds 400,000 joules, and that is a lot compared to the battery and the water system. So our conclusion was that a peanut does have more natural energy than a battery inside of it, except for a battery will be able to sustain that energy, whereas a peanut will not be able to, because it releases it all at once. So a peanut is better for heating your coffee for shortly, but a battery will be more effective to charge your phone and keep your cars alive. Hope this answers your question. Thanks.